Broadcasting from the Allen B. Levan NSU Broward Center of Innovation at Nova Southeastern University. Welcome to Sunshine Startups Live, featuring rockstar entrepreneurs, bright ideas, and experts on the startup ecosystem. And now your hosts of Sunshine Startups Live, Jim Ryan and John Wensveen.
Hi, and welcome to Sunshine Startups Live. I'm entrepreneur, investor, and startup enthusiast, Jim Ryan, broadcasting live from the Innovation Center here. And I'm really proud and welcome to have an incredible co-host, John Wensveen. John, good morning, and how are you?
Good morning, and thank you for being the co-host on Sunshine Startup Live. I am so excited. We're coming to you live from the world's first theme park for entrepreneurs, the only model in the world to reverse engineer the success of an entrepreneur from the birth of an idea through successful exit of a company or global expansion. And I am so excited about today's guest. But before we get underway, I'm very excited about what's happening this fall here at the Levan Center. We've got South Florida Space Day, South Florida Innovation Day, pitch nights, community events, and a whole lot more. And we're so excited to invite the world in here and can't be more excited about what's to come.
And we call it the theme park for entrepreneurs.
The theme park for entrepreneurs,
I love
because 54,000 square feet of space, which is a pretty significant piece of space. There's a ride for all the stakeholders that come here, from entrepreneurs to academia, industry, government, funders, professional networks, investors, and a whole lot more.
So we're really excited. The purpose of Sunshine Startups Lives is to really talk about the ecosystem, those that are fostering, bolstering the ecosystem here for startups. And we have an incredible entrepreneur with us today, Aurelia Edwards, combining nails and tech, and a little bit foreign for me and John, but we're really excited to have her with us today. And so I want to talk about the business, but I'm really interested in kind of understanding a little bit more about you and your background. And so, did you grow up here, and did you go to school here? So share with us a little bit about who Aurelia is.
Well, very nice. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me. I was born in New York, but raised here in South Florida. My parents moved down when I was 6 weeks old, so I can only claim so much to Brooklyn, New York. But I did go to high school here, right here in Fort Lauderdale at Stranahan High School. I was pre-med, so my entire life I knew I wanted to go into medicine, so that's what I focused on. They have a medical magnet program there. And then went on to FIU, where I studied biology and chemistry. So I got a dual bachelor's degree with the intent of going on to medical school. One of the good things about the application process, though, for medical school is they encourage you to shadow physicians. And at that time, talking to physicians, sometimes the reality of what the career is very different than what you think it is when you're in school. So they were very honest with me about what their journey was and how the medical profession was changing. And it convinced me that I wanted to go into dermatology at that time. So instead of going the medical route, I went through chemistry and compounding. So I decided to go on to get my master's degree in cosmetic science. And that led me to New Jersey, where I went to Fairleigh Dickinson to get my master's degree.
And then, so obviously this is sort of what was sort of the incarnation for Nailstree? So where did the idea propagate from?
It's a funny story. So while in undergrad, I had a part-time job. I started working at the mall. I think a lot of people do that. It was at Circuit City, if anyone remembers that store. But I gave a lot of time and didn't really make money, so I begged my parents to allow me to go to massage school. So I became a massage therapist. And part of the practice is we have to keep our nails short. It's good for hygiene and just how you work with the body. So I would always use press-on nails when my friends would ask me to hang out after work. So I was an avid press-on nail user. And this particular weekend, I was I was living in New Jersey at the time, and my cousin was getting married in DC. So I got my hair done, I got my everything was done. I decided to use some leftover box sets that I had in my closet to go to this wedding party. It was actually the meet and greet that started off the wedding weekend. And I did not have all the sizes that I needed. I sat there, I put my nails on, and I was missing my ring finger.
You had a panic moment.
I had a panic because if I had known before, I probably would have done something else, maybe painted them myself, but I had already started applying them because I was sure that I had every box comes with about 30 nails, and I used 10, so I had 20 left over, and I had like 10 boxes. So that's 200 nails, so I'm sure I can find 10 nails out of 200. I couldn't because 3 of my fingers are the same size. So once you use that box, you didn't have all the sizes you needed. So I had put on 8 nails and I'm like, oh no. So I had to stop at Target on the drive down and I got stuck in New York traffic. I had planned everything accordingly, but got stuck in traffic and ended up missing that party. And it really bothered me, that 4.5-4 hour drive down. I was like, there has to be a better way to purchase nails that actually just fit me because I don't need all these extras that I'm just gonna go to waste.
Right. So I've been watching your founder's journey for a little while now and watching your success. Aurelia is known to have the most infectious smile here at the Levan Center, and you're extremely intelligent and you present very well. And it's interesting how you go from 6 weeks in New York to where you are today. And I'm sure there's been some ups and downs along the journey. And I'm really curious, as you talk about your founder's journey, where those challenges have been and how you've been able to navigate them to get to where you are, because I know you got some really exciting news that you're going to want to share.
It's an interesting story. So going back through when I lived in Jersey, going through my graduate program, I had one corporate job in my life. So I was a chemist, research and development, a polymer chemist. I actually worked in the printing industry, making inks, UV curable inks and adhesives. And coatings, which was an interesting space to be in, but it wasn't a love for me. And as I said, I was a massage therapist. So one day I went to work and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. This just did not work for me. So I would say the first journey was coming to that realization that working in corporate just wasn't the fit for me. And I left my job and didn't have like that backup that the parents want. Like, oh no, you have no job. What are you going to do? How are you going to pay your bills? I'm like, isn't that what you're there for? They're like, no. But I started my massage practice. And that was my first like experience with entrepreneurship, right? So trying to scale that, and I didn't realize that's exactly what I was doing I've been a therapist for many years. I won't say how long. But being a startup founder now, I can go back and see like I had one client, I had built one client into 400. And how does that work? And financial capital is always there. Like, how do you pay your bills when you're working for yourself? So being able to budget, knowing how to spend your money. So one of the things that I would do is like, I would only spend money if it made money. So you had to pay a toll to drive into New York at the time. It was $15. So I would only go into New York if I had a client. So like that, little things like that, like I made that like a point that this is something that I have to do and I have to be very strategic and like disciplined in order to make this work, or else I'll run out of money and I won't be able to do what I want to do. Fast forward to my journey as a startup founder, I saved, I was able to plan, I reduced my expenses so that I knew that, okay, this is the working capital that I'm going to start out with. And this was pre-pandemic. So this was January 2020. Before things really shut down, I made that decision that I was going to kind of scale back on my massage practice.
It was a scary time during the start of COVID.
It was a very, well, I didn't know yet. So this part, I was like, okay, this is what my plan is. And that was January. I planned my launch for Nailstree March 2020. So March 11th, the day after New York City shut down. That's when it got scary because it was like, wait a second. All of my clients disappeared, so I didn't have that buffer like, oh, if I need something, I can go back and work. I'm like, I'm really in this. So at that point, I left New Jersey and moved back to Florida. And I had a certain amount of savings, and I'm like, okay, I have to make this last. These are the things that I need to do. Am I focusing on marketing or am I focusing on technical development? And really mapping out like what are the steps that I need to do to make sure that I can keep my capital and continue to generate revenue and get awareness and bring customers in. So that's kind of the roller coaster when you talk about the journey that I went through in building Nailstree.
So let's talk about the business itself. So give us the pitch. What is Nailstree? Tell us about how does it operate and so forth, and then we can dig a little deeper.
Awesome. So the easy one-liner is it's an AI fingernail measurement technology for the press-on nail industry. So what it does is it helps consumers find the exact sizes for their 10 fingers. Our beachhead is B2B SaaS. It's patent pending technology. We have our first 2 customers. So that's really great.
Hey, congratulations.
And thank you. And what we wanted to do differently in the industry is we built this amazing technology, but we wanted to be able to share it with the industry so we can actually make change and not come in just as a brand that has this really cool technology and compete with everybody. We want to be the technology partner for all of the other press-on nail brands. Because what we're seeing, which is really interesting in the market, for the first time ever in the nail industry, press-on nail sales have outpaced nail polish. And that's a really big deal because forever, the nail industry has been nail salons and nail polish sales. We've been seeing a decline in nail polish sales and an increase in artificial nails thanks to COVID. When nail salons shut down, people were looking for easy, at-home, affordable options for beauty, and nails are part of that. And also with the advent of like personalization. The new generation wants to feel unique, wants to feel seen and included, which a lot of beauty industries in the past we haven't really focused on each individual person. So we're seeing that with AR try-on, we're seeing that with a lot of different technologies coming out, and sizing is one of those things. So now you can personalize your beauty regimen, personalize your nails, and the mass market is looking to get on that as well.
And I was really surprised when you threw a figure at me a couple of different times. Was it $30 to $40 billion? That's what this industry is worth?
The nail industry is on pace to hit about $30 billion in the next 6 years or so. And press-on nails is just under half of that. We're looking at about $12.5 billion by the year 2030. And that's where we're seeing the artificial nail care market heading. And it's really exciting because it's sustainable. These nails are reusable. There's less waste. And there's a push. One of the biggest contributors to waste is the beauty industry. We use a lot of plastic in packaging, in the products. So trying to scale back on that, we're really moving in that direction. So bringing in an alternative method, and it's safer. You're not having your hands under UV lamps for a long time. They're seeing links to cancer and different type of dermatitises from that. So it's definitely a more sustainable and a safer option for the beauty industry.
Seems like obviously solving a problem. It seems like that there's an opportunity for monetization here with scale, lots of potential users. Talk about some of the challenges for sort of branding and brand awareness. How are you looking at getting Nailstree out in the marketplace?
So as a new brand entering the market, that's the biggest thing, brand awareness. So one of the things we worked with was community first, right? It's organic, it's easy. We started with Facebook chat groups, talking to the nail designers first because this was a problem that was uniquely specific to them. So these are independent nail designers who sell on Etsy or on their Instagram page who are hand making these nails. And they're hand making 20 or 30 knowing their customers throwing away half of their work. So that's time and resources that are being wasted. So we started with community, but there's a marketing push and there's funding that comes behind that you need in order to really get brand awareness. So we've decided with partnerships, that's been our way to kind of get our name out. You tag onto one of the big guys and let them be your voice. And we have this amazing partnership coming out with Shea Moisture through Unilever. They're a Unilever brand, and they're introducing us to Target. And that's how these partnerships work. They have an amazing relationship with retailers like Target and others, and they wanted to help us and bring us along too. So we've been focusing on these key strategic partnerships to help with brand awareness so that we can tap into their audience. We share a similar audience demographic, and that's how we plan to go to market.
So you're a B2B, a B2C as well?
A B2C as well.
So when you talk to these partners, whether it's ones you've named or potential future partners, when they see what you're doing, they obviously are interested. What are they doing beyond making introductions? Are they a co-invested strategic partnership? If you could explain a little bit more about what those relationships look like and what you hope them to look like.
So this initial relationship, it's is it an investment? It's an investment in a way, but it was a purchase order. So they became our customer, and they actually wrote a check. And we did a deal that would bring us into nationally exclusively through Target. So that's that relationship. But I'm exploring others, right? The idea would be to talk to Ulta, to talk to Walmart, to talk to some of the bigger brands, Walgreens, CVS, all of the areas where beauty is sold, to see how can we create these partnerships where they can strategically invest in us. Because we're bringing something really unique into the industry, and you don't want to miss out. Like, we're bringing technology into an industry that hasn't been innovated in decades. So these big brands are looking to be at the forefront of that as well.
So you personally also have had quite a journey. Besides the business, you've won numerous awards, accepted into numerous accelerators, obviously incubating and accelerating here at the Levan Center of Innovation. Talk to me about, I just recently read, and it's exciting news about Goldman Sachs as a program at Goldman Sachs. So talk a little bit about some of those programs as well, and congratulations.
Thank you, thank you. So I spoke earlier about planning out what this journey looks like from a capital funding standpoint. So in 2020, during COVID, a lot of programs came out to help small businesses because we were really struggling. And I started searching, and I have a really unique method that I look for grants and pitch competitions and different programs. So I just started applying, and that's the one thing I would start off by telling people, is that the money is out there. So even if you don't have this extensive savings, there's money allocated to help small businesses, to help small female-owned businesses, minority-owned businesses. There's money there. So apply to everything, because if you don't apply, you have no chance.
Great advice.
And so yes, the Goldman Sachs program has been amazing. It's really mentorship, but they take a unique approach in that they're looking at key milestones that you're trying to achieve and teach you how to do it. One of the statistics that I was really surprised about is how many people or women of color actually start businesses but aren't able to sustain their businesses. So they get the funding in the beginning, but they don't have the tools that they need to actually keep the business growing and to hire a team and to kind of really expand. We have a tendency to want to be a one-woman show. So they were really big on, we have to let go, figure out what our strengths are, figure out what our weaknesses are, and hire for our weaknesses. So that has been a really great program. And then the Accelerate program here has been exceptional. Interestingly enough, I did both at the same time. And what I found is that they really overlapped. So they gave me a really great framework, and then working into the Accelerate program, I was able to execute and have really handheld guidance through our mentors, through industry specialists that came into the program every week, and that actually helped me execute so that at the end of those 3 months, I actually closed both of my deals right at the end of the Accelerate program. So I can say that being through those programs helped for me to reach those milestones.
So it's interesting where you are in your journey, because even though you're still scaling, you are in a position to be a great mentor to early stage startup companies. And you mentioned something about funding. And there's this common belief that first you got to spend all of your own money. You got to rack up the credit cards. You got to go to the friends and family, and then hopefully something will happen next. But what's the best kind of advice that you could give to somebody that's an early stage startup that really has an idea, but they don't know how to get to that next level in terms of how they secure resources? You mentioned a little bit about it, but if I'm in my basement and I've got the most incredible thing, or at least I think I do, and I'm solving a world's problem with this great solution, how do I go about getting those resources to get me to the next level? And assume I don't even know that incubators and accelerators or programs exist.
So two things. First thing I say, just start. So that's the first problem that I would see for early stage people who have ideas. They overthink it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just start. Do something. Write it down. That's starting. The second thing is ask for help. So you don't have to have any money. Ask for help. It will come to you. If you ask for help, if they don't know the answer, they'll find the person who knows for answers. So you have to talk about what you're doing. I find a lot of times people are really secretive about their ideas. No one's going to copy it. Trust me. It's too much work, right? It's too much work. Tell people what you're doing, because they can help you. The faster you get to where you're going, that's the advantage that you're looking to have, that head start. So talk about it and ask for questions.
You know, it's really fundamentals of almost like in sales, always be selling. For an entrepreneur, it's always be pitching.
Right.
And you've obviously had tremendous success. What's on deck next for Nailstree? So what does the future look like for the company?
There's a couple things. We're looking at some really interesting in-store experiences where we can be technology partners. So that's one thing that we're actively working on in the beauty industry. But beyond that, the nail industry was our beachhead. We're looking to utilize our technology in other industries once we kind of get revenue generating, build a path here. We look to incorporate our technology through jewelry, accessories, prosthetic fitting, and then immersive e-commerce. We're seeing a lot of virtual stores. It's just a different way to interact with brands. And if you're able to personalize that experience as well, not just see how it looks, because that's really more of a marketing play to get the person to buy, but actually give you a solution solver where you know that when you purchase something, it actually fits. What makes us really unique is that we do really small measurements very well, and they're in millimeters. It's a metric measurement. It's not sizing, it's not body matching. We're giving you an actual measurement. So we're telling you that when you get what you order online, it's going to fit you, because we're not just doing a body double here.
Sure. That makes sense, obviously, and you're solving that problem.
So I like your journey, as I've continuously mentioned, and you started off very focused on a very specific area, and you just talked about the potential to diversify the business. Any guidance and advice for the listeners about, should I focus on one thing and doing well, or if I've got a whole bunch of ideas rolling at the same time, do I try to do a little bit of everything and try to solve all the world's problems? What's your best guidance?
My best guidance, number one, is write everything down. Mm-hmm. Focus on one and do it well, and ask for help. If there is another industry that you think there is more traction, talk to your mentors. This shouldn't be something you do by yourself. I do believe that you shouldn't try to boil the ocean, so focus on one and get revenue, and then help that revenue kind of, fund the other things that you're doing. But it's always good to ask for guidance, because there might be something that we are missing. And I can't say that there's something that an opportunity may come up that makes sense, and we have everything in line to go after that I shouldn't follow that because I'm focused on one. So be flexible, be nimble, listen, be teachable, be able to receive information. Don't let your ego get in the way, because people generally do want to help you and they do want to see you win.
So I would say that your success during this global pandemic is actually really remarkable for a startup. So I like to use 4 key things for success: survive, adapt, recover, rethink. And I think even if people don't think about that, that's what you've been doing with your business, and allowing the external environment not to dictate who you are and what you do, but you create opportunities around those boundaries. So if you think about the longer term future beyond Nailstree, have you thought about what you want to do next?
I do. So I'm still a healer at heart, so I definitely want to go back into the wellness space. So my ultimate dream is building out a wellness facility in Barbados. The destination health and wellness industry is booming, especially since COVID, and it's something that I've always wanted to do. So I think the timing in the next few years is right. So looking at an exit for Nailstree would be in the future, that I can then turn around and start working on this wellness facility. It also helps to give continuing education hours to people in the wellness space, so massage therapists, estheticians, et cetera, and building it out on the beautiful island of Barbados.
All right, well, sign me up. I'm ready to go there.
That was going to be my point too. Is how can I be one of the first visitors to Barbados' wellness center? So, well, terrific. Aurelia, thank you so much. How do we find you? How do our listeners find you?
So you can check us out on our website, which is www.nailstree.com, and we're on Instagram at the Nailstree.
Well, and you can all come visit the Levan Center of
Yes.
Innovation. She's got
Absolutely.
an office here. And again, I just have to say one thing, and Aurelia's, she's heard me say this 50,000 times. She's tired of it, but I just got to tell the world, you nailed it.
That's your tagline. Nailed it.
Yes.
Loved it. Thank you so much for joining us on our podcast today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you.